Jason Garrett has a message for Mike McCarthy, and it has something to do with Walter Cronkite. Mike Fisher reporting from Frisco, home of the Dallas Cowboys. We had the great opportunity to hang out with Jason Garrett recently at his kids' camp, the Starfish Charities in Princeton, New Jersey. And Garrett was Garrett. Now, he had a few more swear words when the cameras are off and the kids aren't around. But otherwise, these bumper sticker slogans that you hear Jason Garrett use, they're not fake. They're not manufactured. They really are befitting his life philosophies. And he uses them here in giving some advice to Mike McCarthy. Garrett finds himself pretty soon sitting in a rather unusual seat, kind of like this unusual seat. He's going to be in the catbird seat. That's what Switzer used to call it when Jimmy went to Fox. And then Jimmy would sit up there every Sunday and watch the Cowboy game. And when something went wrong, Jimmy'd chirp from the catbird seat about how Switzer screwed up. And here comes Garrett now in a similar situation, and a rather unusual situation. He can do that if he wants to Mike McCarthy. And that'll be partly his job, Jason, at NBC, Sunday Night Football. Part of his job as a studio analyst will be to analyze. And the Cowboys, obviously, will be on the tip of everybody's tongue in the NFL. Whether they're that Sunday night game or not won't even matter. It'll be something that gets talked about. They'll absolutely go to Jason Garrett. Even if it's a Sunday morning game, they'll go to Jason Garrett. What'd you think of what happened? And for now, our old friend Red Ball has some advice for our new friend, Mike McCarthy, as he enters year 3 of his time with America's team. Quote via Rich Eisen interview. A lot of people make their living speculating about things, Garrett said, and digging things up and stirring things up. He's obviously not talking about the Fish Report and talking about me. He goes, that's just the world we live in. The days of Walter Cronkite telling you the news as it is, those are long gone. It's 24-hour news cycles, and they're trying, he says we, people, are trying to stir the pot. He continues with one of those cliches that to him isn't a cliche. He says the biggest thing for any head coach, and really any player in the NFL, just focus on yourself. Focus on what you need to do to be your best. Now, you can view this as empty platitudes if you want to. But if you've been around Garrett long enough, or if you're a fan who has cut the snarkiness and the sarcasm out just long enough to actually listen to what he's saying, there's value in that. The reason cliches are cliches in many cases is because they're true. Straight dope, no bullshh. And by the way, thank you for being here and subscribing to what we do. Thank you also for reading CowboysSI.com. Garrett acknowledges that when he says things like that, some people think that it's simply cliche. But the fact is, he lived this. He lived what McCarthy's now living, especially at the tail end of his time in Dallas, his decade in Dallas, with the speculation about Garrett's firing and his replacement and his relationship with the player, all of it. Oftentimes fueled by friends of mine who are media people with agendas. Some people in Dallas simply decided. Now, some people decided that they were tired of it. Garrett, 10 years, that'll do that. Other people just decided they didn't like him. Not a good enough reason for a media person to decide to start throwing darts at him, in my opinion. Now along comes McCarthy and talk of hot seats and Sean Payton and Dan Quinn taking over and stuff that does nothing to help McCarthy's Cowboys succeed. And Garrett said that issue is even more true, so true, certainly in a place like Dallas. And then Garrett talked about how he worked to convince Cowboy players to shut out the white noise. And remember, they talked a lot about that. And we talked when Garrett was here. Garrett, especially my focus was Garrett, Dez, Beasley, T. Will. And Garrett used the term Twitter wars. Garrett, by the way, is now on Twitter, brand new. Probably not going to get in any wars. Probably smart enough to use it. I used to tell that to Des Beasley and T. Will, you should be using this to promote your charities. That's it. Not to argue with football fans about whether or not you should have run a different route. Because football fan doesn't know as well as you know, Cole. Why you argue with him, Des? T. Will. And those three guys specifically would go to the locker room and go right to their phones and look at Twitter. One time in Cleveland, I went with them. Me and those three guys, and we basically did a live, or like live, I think it might have been live, post-game show with them looking at their Twitter account. He said, Cole, why? What do you care? And Garrett said, this was a theme that we tried to use with all our players about staying locked in and focused. He said, players getting in Twitter wars and that kind of stuff. He said, hey, guys, let's just lock in to what we need to do each day to be our best. And when you're preaching that message, he says, to the team, sometimes as a coach, you got to preach it to yourself. And that's what he's telling Mike McCarthy, advising Mike McCarthy, helping Mike McCarthy. Make sure you do that. Don't get caught up in the junk. By the way, for the record, Garrett has a positive vibe about McCarthy, which I don't think, this might be the first time that Garrett's ever commented on Mike McCarthy, the coach. And it's thumbs up. Mike, obviously, fantastic coach, has been for a long time. Understands the importance of the focus that we're talking about. And Garrett says, I think they have a really good team, and they obviously have a really good head coach and good players and chance to be a good team. Now, again, a good. If you're looking for something juicy, it's not there. If you're looking for something that has honest value, it's in there if you're willing to look for it. Garrett on McCarthy and the 2022 Cowboys. Good stuff to me. And Garrett, especially when they talk Cowboys, but hopefully he'll be good enough at his job as an analyst that when we're talking about analyzing football and using your intellect to analyze football, hopefully with a couple of those 3 lemonade stories thrown in too, I think Jason Garrett will do just fine on TV. And maybe this is a little bit of evidence of that. Fish out.